Welcome to Notable Approvals. I am attorney Amanda Shaffer. Before I get to our case for today, I just want to remind everybody that we will be doing our next live Q&A discussion on naturalization next Thursday, November 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to like us and follow us and all of that so that you don't miss out. And if you have not done so and you are eligible to vote today, go vote. And let's get to the case. And this is a quick one today, but not as quick as it was approved. So our client is a citizen native of Jamaica. He had been in the United States a bunch of times previously as a visitor, and he met his wife on one of those occasions. And his last time that he came in as a visitor, he decided that, he wanted to marry her, and they did. The only problem was when he went to get a job, he could not get one in Florida, but he was able to get some work in New York, and that was because, he didn't have his work authorization. And the couple also did have a child together, but we had a whole issue with the birth certificate because my client's name wasn't on it because they weren't married at the time, and she actually gave birth when he was back in Jamaica. And the process of getting it, we had issues with because he had lost his passport, so we had to prove who he was. It was taking a long time, and essentially we were said to him, you can always also go get a DNA test so we can get this thing filed, and then once you have the birth certificate, you'll bring it to the interview. What we ended up doing is we submitted the application to change the birth certificate, and then when he went to the interview, he brought it. But anyways, so part of the reason this case is a notable approval is for those two reasons. Number one, it is so important when you're dealing with identity documents that the identity documents are correct. Whether it be your child's birth certificate having the correct names on it, your own birth certificate having the right birth date and name and place of birth. We've seen all sorts of crazy things. But if you have a child with someone, that is really strong evidence that it's a real relationship. So you certainly want to make sure that you get that taken care of. And in every state is a little different in how you amend a birth certificate and add a name or make a change. But for the most part, you have to make changes pretty quickly within the first few months of the baby being born. Otherwise, you have to go through a much more complicated and annoying process. So if the hospital, if it was their process that didn't put the father on because the child was born out of wedlock and the father wasn't present to acknowledge paternity, then it should have been done as soon as humanly possible. So something to keep in mind. And then the other thing, we've been talking a little bit about non-traditional marriages or living situations. And this is another example of it. I have clients all the time call and ask me, is it going to be a problem? I have to travel for work. I'm not always, living at home. And the truth is there's not one mold you have to fit your marriage into. It's always going to depend on the facts and circumstances of your own case. And that's what immigration is going to look at. So although the plan was, and he, I believe, has since moved down to Florida and is now living there until he got his green card. Well, actually, he never got his work authorization or his employment authorization card because it took only 3 months to get approved. But had he done that, that's when he would have officially moved down there. So we made sure that he had proof of his travel back and forth because he would take the bus down or he'd fly down. So we had all of that. We had phone records. We had all sorts of pictures of him there and with her and her son sending money to support the son to show that, look, he's making the money here. He's not making it there. So that combination, and I guess Florida is a little quicker than in other parts of the country, was one of our shortest approval times from date of receipt to date of approval, which was just over 3 months. So we were very excited for that client, but he would have gotten it even sooner if the birth certificate was correct when he first came to us. But we know what to do with that, and fortunately, he was able to get in time for the interview, and everything worked out just as planned. So if you and your spouse are in any type of living situation that you don't think is normal or USCIS will look at a little differently, give us a call, talk to us about it. We've seen everything. Nothing really surprises us these days. And we will make sure that your situation is understood by USCIS and that you're not judged inappropriately or wrongly so, because the way that you and your spouse go about your life and your relationship together is different than what another person does. That is all. Like I said, a nice and short notable approval for today. Don't forget, like us, follow us on Facebook so you don't, and Twitter and the rest, so you don't miss out. And we'll be back tomorrow with another notable approval. Thanks for watching and have a great day.